current form for 11 years. We asked Lindsey Buckingham of Fleetwood Mac what makes the Big Mac tick.
Looking at the group as a whole, aside from, picking out its components, I think that you would have to say that the group chemistry, those 5 people together on the same stage or together on the same album, was so volatile, probably by virtue of the fact that all those things were going on, and it was almost so wrong that it was right. I think that had a lot to do with the basic interest within the group.
As Fleetwood Mac with their big comeback hit, Big Love. We spoke to Lindsey Buckingham of Fleetwood Mac about the band's most successful album, their monster LP, Rumors. And he told us that album was really a personal drama recorded on vinyl.
Rumors has been called a musical soap opera, and indeed it was. At the time that album was being made, it took a great amount of strength for Stevie and I to put our personal feelings over in one corner, for John and Christine to put their personal feelings over in one corner, and for us to keep them over there and put the music over here. That's not something that most people even understand or have to deal with. Usually, when you break up with someone, you don't have to see them again. Now, we have not had that luxury. And it hasn't been the easiest road in the world, obviously. But as I say, I think that is just one more aspect that has made the group interesting over a period of time.
A decade ago, Fleetwood Mac was actually a blues band with a loyal cult following. Then they added 2 new members, Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks, and the Big Mac was on its way to superstardom. We asked Lindsey about the amazing coincidence which led to his becoming part of Fleetwood Mac. It all started with producer Keith Olsen playing a tape for Mick Fleetwood.
Keith put on a song called Frozen Love from Stevie's and my album, which he was very proud of in terms of his engineering and in terms of something that would show off the monitors in the studio. And Mick certainly reacted to Keith's capabilities, but apparently he also reacted very strongly to, from what I understand, the guitar playing that was on that song. And he didn't know that Bob Welch was going to leave the band, but about a week later, Bob Welch came up to Mick and said, well, I'm leaving Fleetwood Mac. So Mick, having remembered this particular tape and having liked what he heard, just Mick being a very, very, once again, a very instinctive person, very intuitive person, he called Keith Olsen and said, well, ask these 2 kids if they'd like to join the band, just like that. No audition, no nothing. And so we joined. I mean, it's once again one of those classic examples of what they call being in the right place at the right time, which has become a bit of a cliche. But my God, it is true. It is so true.
Commercial success is not their first consideration.
There's an axiom in this town, certainly, or perhaps in America, which is if it works, beat it into the ground. And I don't buy that. You've got to, I think you have to be responsible to your own needs as an artist. You've got to be responsible to the work you're doing. You can't shoot for the stardom per se. You've got to shoot for the quality of the work and the growth. And if that means going from a Rumors to something that's going to confound a lot of people's expectations, then so be it.
I guess they achieved their goal because the critics love it, and it is already heading to the top of the charts. The first clip from the album zooming up our chart, jumping 2 points to 4. This is Big Love.
On the chart this week with 4 big new hits coming in. Now, the first of them moves in from 13 to 9. Fleetwood Mac with Little Lies. We spoke to Lindsey Buckingham and Mick Fleetwood about the way their musical styles dovetail to create the sound of Fleetwood Mac.
I tend to think of myself as someone who approaches music totally from an intuitive standpoint, someone who, in a sense, is a primitive. Mick is far more of a primitive than I am. I have been able to apply certain understandings of technique and analyzation of that to what I do, much more so than Mick does. I've learned a lot from Mick in that sense, because he's a great musician, he has great instincts.
Say with Lindsey, he will often finish a song with a melody line and change it right at the end. So you're basically left with approaching it as an instrumental for the most part, and that's often how he writes. I prefer getting in and just giving a real backing situation to a completed song.
Acts who live for their music. Up 2 notches to number 4 is Fleetwood Mac with their 9th top 10 hit. We spoke to Lindsey Buckingham and asked him if, after all the ups and downs the band has had, Fleetwood Mac's chemistry is still intact.
It's harder for us to see probably at this point because on some levels we may take it for granted. It's just a normal part of the things that we deal with.
Fleetwood Mac's run of 9 top 10 hits began in 1977 with Go Your Own Way, followed by Dreams, Don't Stop, You Make Lovin' Fun, Tusk, Sarah, Hold Me, Big Love, and now Little Lies. At number 4, Fleetwood Mac.